telling us? That's what it boils down to. What are they not telling us? Because they're telling us a whole lot of things, but it's the one things, it's a lot of the other things, the more significant things that they're not telling us. And these things, they know if they tell us, we're not going to like to hear them. We're not going to want to hear them. They're going to tell us, all right, but they're going to hold it off to the very last minute. And the last minute could very well be a few years from now. It's what they're not telling us. It's what's part of their plan. It's part of their plans. They got their plans. They do have their plans, and they've got their plans already playing out. And they're telling you little bitty bits and pieces of their plans. It's the large pieces that they're not telling us about. They're not telling us, and you know they're not. If you've seen the video before this one, do you think they're going to come right out and tell you what is planned for the future? Why do you think that they slowly started to let it? It was literally, let me tell you this. It is literally like they turned the faucet of truth on just enough to let a drip slowly drips, like a faucet that drips. They turned that faucet on years and years ago to let that truth just drip, drip by drip. Just let it seep out, drip by drip, month after month, year after year. Just let it drip, drip, drip until that whole truth, when it comes right down to it, you'll have a whole glass of truth then. You'll have the whole thing. It's not there yet. That's why they had to turn it on a slow drip. Let the truth slowly drip out over the months, over the years, until you reach that time stamp on your plans, that marker to where boom, then you'll tell the truth because it's already there. It's already to be implemented. You will have the people conditioned enough to accept it. They won't be caught off guard because they'll be hearing little bitty pieces of it here and there and here and there, and you have for years and years and years and years and years. It's the mark. It is the mark. It is a mark. But the faucet was turned on very slow, very, very slow. And it's more than a mark. It's more than a mark. It's more than just a chip. It's much more than just a chip. It's much more than just having a digital ID. It's so much more than that. It's about ownership. That's what it's about. It's about complete ownership of you and your way of life. Because if you own something, and if you're owned by someone, you're going to have to do what they want you to do because they own you. They own you. It's like when you own your own property, you can do what you want to it as long as you remain within the perimeters. You have a say-so. You can paint your house green, purple, blue. You can do what you want to your body. Okay, you can. I can take my body. If I want to put tattoos all over my body, I can put tattoos all over my body because it's my body. But if somebody else owns my body, they're going to have to say so what I can do with my body. They're going to have to say so. I'm not going to have that say so. I'm not. It's what they're not saying. If you're just tuning in, it's what they're not saying. It's what they're not telling us. They're telling us the better stuff, the good stuff that will come from their plans. There are some good things that can come from it. Their plans that they have been planning for years and years and years, some really good things. But they're not telling you the flip side of the coin. They're not telling you what's on the other side. They're not. They're not going to tell you. They've let the information just literally drip out like a slow drip on a faucet, just a slow drip over the months, over the years, until they get that full cup, and then the truth comes out. It comes out all at once, all at once. Then you'll know it. You'll probably be desensitized by then. You'll probably be like, yeah, I saw it coming. Now they're finally admitting it. They're finally admitting it. But for some people, it's going to hit them like a ton of bricks because their eyes have been closed. They've had spiritual blinders on their eyes for some reason. I guess they weren't meant to see. They weren't meant to see. It's more than a mark. It's more than a digital ID. It's so much more than that. It is about ownership. Ownership of you, ownership of me, but those things play a role in it. Can you stop it? It's much greater than you are. It's much greater than you are. Can you refuse it? You absolutely can refuse it. You'll have a choice. You'll have a choice. You have a choice right now. But the time will come. Guess what happens? When they own you, they own you. They own you. They'll do what they want. They'll do what they want. And you'll do what you want. You'll choose the lesser of two evils, more or less, or three evils, whatever. You're not going to have too many choices to choose from. You really are not going to have too many choices to choose from. You're not. It's not going to be like it is now. And I'm going to say it again. I can do whatever I want to with my body. I can. I own my body. You own your body. If I want to put tattoos all over my body, if I want to gauge my ears and all this kind of stuff, if I want to turn my hair any type of color, I can do it. It's my body. I can do what I want. But if somebody else owns my body, I'm going to have to do what they want. I am. Or I'm going to pay for it. If I step out of line, I'm going to pay for it. It's kind of like an Orwellian society. Can you stop it? No, you can see, you can look at, there's cameras everywhere. There's cameras everywhere. They're everywhere. I got a camera up there. I got a camera pointing down straight at my driveway, 24/7. There's cameras everywhere, you all. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. It's what they're not telling you. They're not telling you because they don't want chaos. They cannot lose control of the people. They cannot let the people find out all at once. They can't because they can't handle it. They will not be able to handle the uproar that's going to occur. They feel if they just fed it to you like a drip, drip, drip. You ever be stuck to an IV and they just got it slowly dripping, 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 dripping into your tube. It's a slow drip. Little at a time because too much is not going to be good for your body whatsoever if you've ever been hooked up to one. It's a slow drip. It's not a let's let the fluid flow all the way through. No. They got to do it slowly, slowly. That's what they're doing. They let the information out a little bit at a time, a little. Rosie, I see your body up there. I see you, Rosie. Rosie, honey, you got me up there. She got me up there, you all. It's 333 and it's 63. 333 people watching, 63 thumbs up. Let the love of Christ flow. Now you can handle that. Yeah, let the love flow. You can have it all at once. It might be a little bit overwhelming. It's like that song. I'm overwhelmed by you. I see the, ever. I don't know. Who sings it? Big Daddy Weave. Overwhelmed. Yeah. They're not going to tell you. It's what they're not telling you. They're not telling you the adverse part of it. They're only showing you one side of the coin. They're not showing you the other side of the coin, because the other side of the coin is not as pleasing as the front side of the coin. It's like the moon. You only see one side of the moon. They're not going to show you the other side of the moon, the dark side of the moon, because it's supposed to be controlled by the darkness, the dark forces. It's like you got the dark web. There is a dark web. You're not allowed to be on that dark web because it's really, really dark. They'll show you this web right here, the internet. It's for public consumption, but there is a dark web that you're not supposed to go on. You're not supposed to go on it. You're not. There's a lot of things in this life that's not good for you. You don't want to have to consume it, because once it's in your face, it forever, it's stuck there. It's stuck there. No, you all, it's what they're not telling you. If you're just tuning in, it's what they're not saying. Let the living water run through you. When you all get all the information, it's too late. It's too late then. It's too late. But if you recognize, oh, Ryder, honey, it's been a long time. Aw, that's okay. That's all right. Oh, Ryder, you got a big snowstorm coming in. It's so good to see you. Hello there, Al. So you all, it's not what they're telling us. We're hearing a lot of things, and we're hearing bits and pieces of it right now. You're not going to hear the whole truth, because the whole truth is way too much. It's way too much. It's like when you get chemo, if you've ever went in for chemo, you can't get it all in one session. You cannot. Oh no, you have to keep coming back and coming back and coming back and coming back. Too much at once. If you got everything at once, it literally would kill you. It would kill you. Even with the radiation, it would kill you. So you have to keep coming back and coming back and coming back and coming back. They planned it this way. They know exactly what they're doing. They want change on this earth. And there are those who feel that this change is for the best, for the generations to come. And they know, I'm going to be honest with you, they know that the change that is being brought on this earth is going to be very hard for the people on this earth, and it's not going to be pleasant. They have taken that into consideration, that it's going to be really bad. But you know what? They felt that it was worth it. When they looked 3 generations down, it was worth it to them, because they felt like, well, they're at this point in their life, they're at this frame of mind that they can handle the change that has to occur if their generations after them have a better world to live in than them. That's how they're thinking. That is how they're thinking. That's how they explained it. If they can create a better world for their children that are to come, for their grandchildren and their children, then it's worth it. It's worth it. They've made the call. The call it was a judgment call that went out. Were you and I a part of it? No, you were not a part of it, but you heard about it. Do you know all the details of it? No, and I don't think you want to know all the details of it. You do not want to know all the details of that judgment call that went out, that literally pertains to every single life form on this earth. You were not a part of that. You were included in it, but your consensus, you didn't have any. You didn't know. It did not matter what you thought. The call was made by the few. The few. And you've got to survive. The thing is, you've got to survive. You got to make the best of the situations that are playing out. You've got to. You can't throw your hands up in the air, and you cannot give up. You can't do it. I mean, you can if you want, but what good is that going to do you? What kind of example is that are you going to be setting if you give up? If you show yourself caving into the pressure, what kind of an example are you setting for the generations that are to come? They got to have some type of role models that they can look back on. They truly got to have some role models. They got to know what it was it like when people had a voice. What was it like when people stood up? It's going to be like how you have the oral history, because the written history is probably going to be gone. All they'll have is the oral history. And you know what happens when oral history keeps getting repeated and repeated and repeated. The story changes a little at each time. It's what they're not telling us is what it is. Is there a mark? It's much greater than a mark. Is it a digital ID? It's much greater than a digital ID. It's a totally different life. It's a totally different world. Everything is more or less, it's a rebuilding from the ground up. It's a tearing down of the old foundations. Everything that's built, it's it's dismantling it. It's dismantling a way of life. And it's a cleansing. It's like a cleansing. It's like a cleansing. It's like a, I don't want to say what type it is, but it's like a purification. And then you throw in all these natural disasters. You throw in these prophecies that are out there. You throw in the planetary system, the destroyer that's coming, the wormwood. They know it's all coming. They know what's coming. They're making their plans. They're building their bunkers. A lot of the bunkers are already built underground. They know exactly what they do, and they got it all planned out. Sometimes I wonder, I don't wonder, I thought, no wonder he's got all these children, Mr. Musk, with all these different women. He's got a legacy now. He's got his legacy. His family line will continue. He's planning. He has planned. He's got his family line now secured. Just like the other people. They know what they're doing. They got it all planned out. Yeah, it's what they're not saying. It's what they're not saying that we should be concerned about, even though you may know, but a lot of people do not know. They don't know. Awareness, being aware of what's not being said, is the key to preparing yourself on the inside of here, making sure you got what it takes to stand and keep going. Being aware starts on the inside of here, right there. That's the only way you're going to make it. You got to be grounded in the love of God. You got to be grounded in love. You got to be able to think clearly as you go forward. You have got to be able to think clearly. You want to gather as much information as you can about what's not being said. You want to share it if you can in the way that you're supposed to. You want to share the truth, your truth, with those who will listen, and those who will not, don't worry about it. You cannot awaken everybody. You cannot force someone to listen when they don't have ears to hear. You cannot. You can keep it on the inside of you, and who knows, further down the road, it'll still be inside of there, and you'll be able to speak it once again, and then they'll listen. But as for now, you may have to keep that on the inside. You may. So it's not what they're saying, it's what they're not saying. They can't tell everybody at once. They can't, and there's something really horrible coming. A lot more horrible than all of that kind of stuff too. It's coming, you know it. It's really, really, really dark, and it's spiritual. And you don't want to speak about it. I don't want to speak about it. You don't want to speak about it. It's very dark. I'm picking up on it right now, and I don't like it. I do not like it. It's likened into something like the Grim Reaper. And I've never seen any movie or anything with it, but that's what I'm picking up on, something like that coming on top of all the other stuff. On top of all the other global catastrophes that will occur, the earthquakes, the volcanoes, the grid scenarios and stuff. When the grid goes down, there goes the power plants. There goes there's no way to keep them going. There isn't. There isn't. Jim, fallen. I'm not going to answer that. Um, I'm not. I share whatever I feel led within my spirit to share. What's ever been laid on. If you want to call it that, you can call it that. You sure can. Um, mm, Karen haircut. Who's got a haircut? This is my hair. I'm growing it out. There's no haircut. Yeah. The ant people did save um, some of them. They did. You've been singing a lot. It does help. You want to keep your vibration up. You do. You want to try to keep your spirit up. You don't want to get caught into a depression or anything like that. You do not. You don't want to get caught into that. You want to try to enjoy your life the best that you can here and continue to live. Live while you can. And do what you need to prepare on the inside, spiritually and externally too. Internally and externally. It's not what they're saying. It's what they're not saying. It's more than a mark. It's more than a digital ID. It's more than a chip. It's about the ownership of you. It's about the ownership of me. Right now, you have a say-so over what you want to do with your body. If you wanted to put tattoos all over it, gauge your body, do all whatever, dye your hair, you can do it. But the day in the future, when the future comes and you want to do something, you won't have the say-so on it because you will be controlled. And they talked about that too. You will be controlled from the inside out. You will. You step out of line, all they'll have to do is push a button, turn a little dial, and you'll know what you need to do. You'll stop doing that which you weren't supposed to be doing, and you'll do exactly what they tell you to do. You won't be your own. You are not just like, it reminds me of this verse that just now popped in my mind. You are not your own. You were bought with a price. You were paid for by a price. You are not your own. You were bought with a price. Where is that located at? Because that's popped into my mind right now, and I've heard it throughout. You are not your own. You were bought with a price. It's in there. Oh my gosh. That's true, Rhonda Rhodes. That is true. That is true. They'll keep you alive as long as they can. Yeah. They'll keep you alive as long as you can, and you will be their battery. You will be their battery, is what you will be. Their battery, according to some sci-fi movies. You'll be the battery that they need. Human batteries. After all, you got the electricity in your body anyhow. You'll be their batteries that keep them going. And in some of the movies, you're underground. You are underground, is what it is. I am going to go. It's not what they're saying, it's what they're not saying. And I think you get the gist of it. You get the gist of it. It's what they're not saying. That's the thing right there. It's a slow drip. It's a slow drip. The truth has slowly dripped out over the months and years. And when it gets that big full cup, then they'll throw it all out there. Because if they were to say it long time ago, it would cause too much of an uproar, and their plans would not have played out like this. They know what they're doing. They do. I am going to go. So with that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello. From my heart to yours, love you. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. You all please consider subscribing to this channel. I really don't ever know what I'm going to share. I don't. As soon as you can say download. Gina got to download whenever a thought enters my mind from the spiritual realm. I come on here and I speak about it. I don't plan it ahead of time. I literally wait for it to flow in. Thank you to everyone who has joined. Thank you for your subscriptions. Please give this video a thumbs up. Thank you, moderators. Thank you all for your comments. You got to stay strong. Awareness is the key. It is. You got to be aware of what's happening without giving into the fear of it, the fear that is attached to what is happening. You cannot let fear control you. You cannot. You got to be aware so you can prepare on the inside of here. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon.